make sure that you're looking at a place that does have a growth plan or systems in place to build your career, and that's something that already exists. Because I think it's so important to be able to see your trajectory or your growth plan from the beginning and know what that's going to look like for you. I came from a very small salon, and I think I loved the experience. The owners were fabulous. I have fond memories. It was a great beginning of my career, but if I could go back and change it, I would actually go to like a Sassoon's or a Tony and Guy, or even it doesn't have to be a big brand, but somewhere that had a real growth plan from start to finish for their stylists.
My God, I say this to my students all the time. You have to have a growth plan, not only to attract stylists, but to measure success. So stylists can measure their success. So you can measure productivity and growth. Hello and welcome to the Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Nowakowski. I'm a salon owner, educator, mindset, and leadership coach that helps salon owners go from overwhelmed and burnt out to motivated and empowered. It is my mission to help you systemize your business, generate more profit, and create a career that you love. Join us every week to learn about the small shifts you can make to elevate your business regarding mindset, marketing, social media, business systems, and so much more. On this week's episode, I'm so excited to interview Emma Bennett, who is somebody I adore and admire so much. She has really invested the energy and time into her growth with coaching and education. And we're going to have a great conversation about her experience with all of those things. Take a moment to introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
I'm Emma. I am in Toronto, Canada, and I've been a hairstylist for 20 plus years. I went to hair school right out of high school, actually. And after I completed my hair program, I moved to Toronto and I actually did a graphic design program and worked part-time assisting at a salon. Once I finished my graphic design program, I think I really realized that hair was the thing for me to pursue. And so I started working at a salon in Toronto. I worked there for about 8 years. And I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My parents owned their own business, and I always knew that I would want to try and have my own salon. So after working at my previous salon for, like 8 years, I decided it was time to open up my own salon. And so me and my best friend, he was working at the salon with me as well. And so we decided it was time to take the plunge and open up our own salon. So we did that. It's 14 years this summer since we opened up the Cabinet Salon in Toronto. And it's been quite the journey for both of us. I think we've done really well because we are best friends. We've done really well, and we've worked really hard through coaching to ensure that we've been able to maintain that friendship and also be better business partners for each other, because it's been it's not always easy. It takes a lot of work to be able to bridge those two worlds together. But I think that coaching has really helped us kind of be able to establish better communication with each other, and how to kind of pursue what we want and support each other. It's a little bit about me.
So let's start back 14 years ago when you did open your salon. What did that process look like, and how did you go about the whole expansion of doing that?
I think in hindsight is so 2020. We opened our own salon for all the wrong reasons. We wanted to have a cool space to work out of and be our own bosses. But it's taken me a long time to realize and to develop is that you actually open a salon to lead a team. And that was really not at the forefront of my mind at that time and in the beginning. But I did take a small business course at the local community college. I did have an awareness about that end of things, that it's going to be a big transition from, just working behind the chair to owning your own shop. But I really didn't realize the people skills that it required and the desire for leadership that it required. But again, through doing some coaching like that, kind of, I was able to connect to that a little bit more and hone in on that a little bit more, which I think has brought me more fulfillment overall. And it's made me become like a better leader for my team for sure. But I think that was a really big disconnect for me in the beginning. I just wanted a cool space to work out of and somewhere to call my own. And, but there was a big gap there.
I totally resonate with that so much because I feel like I share that same story. So you've had your salon for 14 years. When did you start coaching with Destroy the Hairdresser? Like, when did you start that?
Okay. So I think I was coaching. Oh my God. So I find it's really hard to kind of track time just with COVID and everything that happened there. But I think that I had started coaching almost like 3 years before COVID hit. But I am a slow burn. It took me a really long time to implement some of the things and to even transition to hourly rate and doing gratuity free. That was like a bit of a conversation from the beginning of coaching. I think I was there at the early days of Destroy the Hairdresser. And they even I felt like I saw that program develop and change a lot as well over time. But it did take me a while to be able to have the courage to implement those big changes or just to be ready to make those big changes. So I would say it was when we reopened from COVID is when we decided to take the plunge and make a lot of really start implementing some of the coaching methods that they were kind of speaking to, like gratuity free and hourly rate. But I have to say, honestly, it is one of the best changes I've ever made personally as a hairdresser. It definitely has been really great to streamline as a salon owner as well. But I really feel like even on a smaller level, just personally as a hairdresser, it's just so much better for so many reasons.
I agree. It just simplifies and streamlines everything. So for me personally, when I signed up for coaching, I had hit rock bottom. So what was the thing that kind of pushed you and motivated you to actually start the coaching process? Because I feel like a lot of people put it off and hold off because they think that the investment is too high, or they aren't sure what to expect, or they think that it won't work for them.
Yeah, I definitely think I was having a lot of I think confidence issues in my ability to lead a team, and anxiety and lack of fulfillment. And it kind of presented, I guess, for me. And then I was always searching for something else to kind of do to find that fulfillment, as opposed to trying to find it within something that I had already built, which was my business. But it was kind of, I guess, a bit of an avoidant kind of behavior of oh, I'll just try to develop this other thing over here instead of actually dealing with the things that were right in front of you, that you'd already spent a lot of time and planted the seeds and built the thing, but you needed to dig deeper to be able to find more fulfillment within it. And I think that then that, for me, presented of feeling a lack of confidence and kind of general overwhelm and anxiety.
Yeah, I also feel that, always searching for the next big thing, but never really finding it, because that isn't where you're actually going to find the source of fulfillment. It has to come from inside.
Yeah, totally. And I think that I just, because I couldn't find this right confidence balance, it really there was just such a lack kind of there, because I didn't, we're hairstylists first. We work behind the chair. I didn't take management classes, and I didn't know how to kind of have those streamlined processes that kept everything kind of together and kept you there to be able to be accountable for your team and develop some of those kind of things.
So what would you say was the biggest growth that you experienced in coaching?
Oh, geez. I think it's seriously so ongoing for me. I feel like even now with your program, I've been able to kind of implement things and take things a little bit further, because there's been a few more like just like quantifiable, tangible kind of steps to take with the streamlining stuff. I think that that's been really, really helpful. And I think that once you learn how to streamline those processes, it gives you the confidence of how to like move through the day a little bit more. I feel more confident that I'm like able to be there and provide my team with like the support that they need because the systems are in place.
Yes. If you've been feeling overwhelmed and overworked from owning your salon, you're not alone. If you're like many salon owners, you want to build a salon that makes you feel fulfilled and passionate while bringing freedom and flexibility to your life. You're exhausted from taking on all your business tasks alone, but it doesn't have to be this way. It's time for change. The Elevated Salon Owner Collective will help you do just that. You'll automate your salon, implement solid business systems, transform your salon culture, take charge of your online presence, and regain freedom. Doors officially open, and I'd love for you to experience freedom and fulfillment in your business. To learn more, visit opulentbeautypro.com/elevate or click the link in the show notes. So moving on to working with me in my program, what was the thing that kind of pushed you into enrolling in the collective?
Well, I had been like following you through DTH for a while. And I was on your mailing list for a while, and I had taken steps like downloaded the freebie things that you had offered. And I liked that material a lot. And I had taken a pause from DTH coaching, but then was kind of like ready to have some more guidance and guidelines again. I work way better. Like if I sign up for a class, or that gives me an accountability step. And I really find I need that. I'm pretty motivated, but not necessarily always self-motivated. So it really helps me to stay kind of on target or on task. If I just have, if I've signed up for something and, paid, like there's a monetary kind of thing that you've contributed to it. And so you kind of stay accountable to it. So I think because I had read through some of the other materials that you had provided, it just really clicked for me. I loved the idea of trying to lessen overwhelm through streamlining and trying to provide yourself as a salon owner with more freedom through streamlining. That just really, I connected to that. I think it's a real struggle as a salon owner. The freedom piece, I can still go in and out of feeling like a little entrapped by my business because I have a lot of wanderlust. So I think that just, trying to achieve more, like that you can have freedom and still be a salon owner. Some of those things that you had kind of said just really clicked for me.
What would you say your biggest takeaway from the program is so far, besides the streamlining and the systems? Is there anything else that you kind of want to share?
Oh my gosh, I feel like there's so much. I think that there's like a kudos to you and your team, because I think that there is actually a wealth of knowledge sharing that's happening that I think is, not necessarily always common. I think it's coming to more commonplace, but there does tend to be in business this secrecy of like, if you're successful, of not sharing. And I think that you guys are so open with the content that you share. Like you're literally giving us straight up content that you're using for your business. And I think that is just so, so valuable because it's something that someone else has already used in their business. It's working for them successfully. So I think that is a huge thing, just the knowledge sharing. But each module I feel like I've taken something away from each module, truly. So it's hard to speak to one particular thing because I think I've learned a lot from each module. Like last night, I was catching up on the email templates, and we used to have a bit more of a system of doing monthly email marketing, but we've kind of slipped into just doing pop-up appointment like emails now. And the piece that you said of like, you have to make sure that you're providing value, not just updating them on, like your clients on big announcements such as price increases or, like just the daily grind of things, like you also want to be providing value. So I know that that's like a simple thing, but when you get to see it mapped out for you in a course, it just really can make a difference of, okay, yeah, no, I have to get back to committing to developing that idea more. And yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of businesses like utilize email just to take from people, like to try to get their money, to try to get their business, to like, again, pop-up appointments, we're doing price increases, or like we have an available appointment. Oh, we're having a sale. Like instead of like providing actual value that brings some sort of ease to their lives, or like just something that will help them, do their hair better. Something as simple as like just tips and tricks. It really does change the relationship of people wanting to get information from you and opening the emails. I think it's super powerful to kind of switch the way you think, to give instead of trying to receive.
Yeah. And it's like an extension of our chair. Like really a big part of what we do is connecting with our client. And that can be a tool that is used to extend beyond the chair and like to continue your connection kind of with your client. But I think that you have to provide valuable content to kind of continue that. So I think that was a really good takeaway.
I think too, one thing I wanted to touch base on, and I want you to share your personal experiences, a very small percentage of salons make it past the first year of business. I mean, it is like I don't want to say a percentage because I don't know like the exact percentage in my head. Like I've researched it. I did know it, but it's not coming to me right now. But I think it's like 10% or less, something crazy like that. And you've been open for 14 years. Like that is an incredible success. So what do you think like is one of the attributes that actually like keeps you going, that keeps your business growing and flourishing, the revenue coming in, the motivation that you feel? Because a lot of people will end up resenting their business or feel overwhelmed by their business and want to close. A lot of people can't retain a team. Like there's so much like little tiny things that go into a successful salon. What do you do to kind of keep your business thriving and growing?
I think that a huge part of our success is that Alex and we work together as a really good team. And for us, having a business partner has been a huge part of our success because, when you're having those lower moments, you have somebody to kind of lean on. And also usually we find that there has been a natural ebb and flow. Like, so if I'm having a lower moment, then like Alex is a little bit more picked up and able to kind of drive some of the things that we need to do. So I think that has been a huge part of our success. We also are able to step away from our business and really step away. We really believe in taking time. One of my biggest hobbies or other passions in life is traveling. My partner and I travel a lot. And right from day one, we've taken vacation and time off away from the business to recharge and recuperate. And I think that that's been made easier by the fact that we do have a business partner. So I think that that's been a huge key to our success for sure, because there are going to be ups and down moments. I also think that like getting a mentor and having a coach has made a huge difference for me personally. Alex also did coaching for a little while. But yeah, I think having that drive to kind of be better and do better for your team and cultivate a nice space to have. I think also, trying to circle in something else besides just making an income that your business does. So, being involved in your community a little bit kind of keeps you thriving. So we do little different initiatives throughout the year and kind of have always done, whether it's a food drive or we donate a percentage of our product sales to a local organization. Just trying to tie in some of those things into your business as well will just give you a little bit more fulfillment. You can be giving back to your community a little bit. And I think that also it really, is an extension of our home in a way. Like we really do love the connecting with people. That's a huge part of it as well. And I think that kind of keeps you going as well. Just creating those relationships with people. Like I'm really lucky. I have a lot of clients that I've been doing their hair for 15, 16, 20 years. They, came to me early in my career. We've kind of grown up together. We've gone through a lot of big life moments together. And so those relationships are invaluable. You feel really lucky and really special to have been able to kind of cultivate and maintain those relationships.
Another thing that you've done so successfully, which I know even through coaching salon owners and partners, is maintaining a healthy partnership for 14 years. A lot of people cannot work through certain situations with their partner because ego gets in the way, different visions. They grow apart with the vision and mission of their business. So what is something that has kept your partnership thriving?
Honestly, I think we're struggling to communicate and learn how to communicate and not take things personally. And we did the Destroy the Hairdresser coaching really at the right time for us, because it really gave us tools to learn about the reactive behaviors and the cycle of that, and even the vessel stuff. And so some of those tools and kind of the language that Destroy the Hairdresser uses to the emotional intelligence kind of piece of it, Alex and I really took a lot away from that at that time. And it really helped us learn to communicate better for each other. And it did make us better friends and better business partners. So I think again, utilizing, if you don't know a lot about emotional intelligence or your reactive behaviors or some of those things, it's really, really invaluable to learn about that stuff and look at some of the introspective kind of stuff. Well, oh my gosh, that was my emotional. I was reacting. That's not really how I felt. I'm sorry. I need to pause in this moment. I'm not going to sometimes you don't even catch it. I can still be reactive. And even though I know I should pause, not necessarily pause, but you can then go back and be like, I should have paused there. I'm so sorry. That was not about you. That was about me. Just being able to take responsibility for those emotions really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I think the self-awareness, the understanding and learning reactivity has definitely it's been one of the things that's completely changed, not only in my business, but my life, my partner, my relationship with my partner, all of the things, because it just makes you aware of why you do the things you do instead of just kind of running on autopilot and just letting your emotions take the wheel, because that never brings you to a place of clarity or positivity. And sometimes it does, but for the most part, it doesn't.
Totally. And again, we're humans, we're going to make mistakes. You have to give yourself a breath of room for making those mistakes. And, you gain awareness, but it doesn't mean you don't react anymore, but at least you can then look back and be like, okay, no, that wasn't really where we needed to go with that. I'm sorry. Or, things like that. Yeah. Just because you're aware of it doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it does help you move forward. Yeah.
It helps you move forward, and it helps you have more empathy for other people too, and give other people grace, because you understand your team and everyone else on a different level, because when you see that they're reacting because they're feeling fear or because of, other traumas, it just helps things, relationships.
Yeah, I agree.
If you could redo the whole process of opening your salon after 14 years, what is one thing that you would do different if you could have a redo?
I think I would get a mentor right away.
Same.
Because even just how you set up business structures and stuff, I think sometimes you end up doing stuff from where you came from. So we set a lot of stuff up, how our salon that we had came out of did, and just because that was familiar. So I think that, yeah, I would have maybe looked at that stuff a little bit deeper. If I could have the wisdom now and the hindsight of now at 30, then I would maybe even take some management courses or something, just to have a little bit more knowledge about the people part of it. Because I think that was just such a big gap for me, is I didn't realize that having a salon meant you want to have other people around and you want to mentor and help those people. And I didn't really come from a salon that had assistants or a hierarchy. So it was very unfamiliar to me that part of it, managing other people. And because I didn't even grow up in that type of salon.
What is a piece of advice that you would give a stylist who is looking for a salon, either a newer stylist or somebody who's kind of like new-ish in the industry when it comes to looking for leadership and a great place to work?
I think you really want to make sure that you're looking at a place that does have a growth plan or systems in place to build your career, and that's something that already exists, like a structure that exists within that company already, or a salon that already has that type of structure in place. Because I think it's so important to be able to see your trajectory or your growth plan from the beginning and know what that's going to look like for you. Again, I came from a very small salon, and I think I loved the experience. The owners were fabulous. They really, I had the beginning. I have fond memories. It was a great beginning of my career. But if I could go back and change it, I would actually go to like a Sassoon's or a Tony and Guy, or even it doesn't have to be a big brand, but somewhere that had a real growth plan from start to finish for their stylists.
My God, I say this to my students all the time. You have to have a growth plan, not only to attract stylists, but to measure success. So stylists can measure their success. So you can measure productivity and growth without having like expectations, even just like baseline standards. You're not going to be able to truly like mold and coach people because there's nothing to gauge the growth off of. So I love that you shared that so much.
Yeah. And education, like built-in education for the beginning of your career, it's so important. Yes, you can go out and find it. Like that's how I did it. I went out and found it, and I did a lot of courses outside of the salon. But I think at the beginning of your career, it's just so important to have that system built into the salon that you're working at.
Education is so empowering. It's not just about building like the technical part of what you do behind the chair, but it also builds so much confidence. When you educate yourself, that never goes away. It's something that's always going to be embedded in your brain, and it's always going to be a part of what you do on a regular basis. So it really, truly is an investment. But I really think that like, even with my stylists, a lot of people are hesitant to invest in classes, and it's really one of the best things that you can do for your business. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that you also touched on that. Okay. Last question. Somebody is interested in opening a salon and they don't know where to start the process. What is one piece of advice that you would give them in order to kind of get them going in the right direction?
I think that you just really want to have your like key people in place. So a business mentor, an accountant, a lawyer, maybe a real estate agent. But I think that you really want to have those key people already kind of in place and then build kind of from there. I think that it just will take you so far to have those supporter roles already in place.
I love that, because that is one thing I think a lot of people try to bypass because they feel like they can't afford it or they don't need that right now. When in reality, those are the things that are going to protect your business. And especially a good accountant is going to really help you thrive and figure out money. I think so many people open businesses and a lot of stylists open salons and they don't understand money and how to make it work for them and how to make it actually grow and evolve, how to budget, all these things. So I think that's amazing. Where can people find you?
I am on Instagram at emma.rose.bennett. That's probably the easiest way to find me. I also am reachable through my website, thecabinetsalon.com. We have a contact me page there, so people can also reach out through there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And I really do appreciate your time so much. I'm so glad that you set this up, because I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk to Emma. It's going to be so great. Because you've experienced all the things,
Thank you. Well, I really thank you so much for developing this course and letting us connect with you. because you have so much knowledge to share, and you're such a natural mentor. So thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into the Elevate podcast. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. The Elevate podcast is hosted by me, Patricia Nowakowski, and produced by Opulent Beauty Pro. To receive my free business guides, visit opulentbeautypro.com/free or click the link in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at opulentbeautypro or at Patricia_Nowakowski_OBS. If you love this show, please consider subscribing. See you next week.